like an Eminem bar.
Bust the entrance and he need more doors. Ain't a building big enough for me, I need more floors.
Damn, okay.
Will a building big enough that I need more floors? Ugh.
How do you turn?
That's their whole bag.
It's a 2-story apartment. What the fuck's an 3-story home? What the fuck's an apartment?
Exactly.
Who said that?
Tyler the Creator. And second album? Yeah, on Wolf. Yeah.
You can literally turn any story you have into a rap bar if you put West Side Gun voice on it. Hey yo, I went to the store and bought a bag of Fritos.
Even though what I was gonna say, he said I went to the store. We all thought about that.
More.
I got kind of sleepy, so I laid down in my bed. Boop, boop, boop,
Can you take one picture for us?
Like literally just random.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay, guys, let's take one picture. Are we good? Yeah.
The word has to last.
I'm about to get my haircut.
What up, everybody? I'm here with a few of my nearest and dearest friends. No.
Don't do that.
You won't
do that.
start
No,
off.
because that's a fucking, I feel like that's a jinx. Can't do that. That shit didn't
That's
work
bad
for
luck.
mans. Yeah.
It did until it didn't.
Everything works till it doesn't,
Yeah,
huh?
intro us
and
properly.
you know till you don't know till you know either. Okay.
Welcome.
Damn. Welcome and thank you for joining us for episode 23 of the Hear Me Out podcast. I'm here with Jordan
Here.
to my right, Rhythm to my left. Jonte is here as always. And we've got quite a show for you guys today. We're about to get into some stuff. But what's up with you guys? How was your week? Anything
week was
worth
good.
mentioning?
I got demoted at work.
Really?
Yeah, I was a manager and then they demoted me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I swear to God.
Oh my gosh.
Why though? There has to be a reason.
It's a lot of work politics, if I'm being honest with you. But I was being a little lazy, but I ended up being like the scapegoat for like a bigger conspiracy.
Oh shit.
It's low key. Okay,
Oh,
I'm gonna give y'all a key real
shit.
quick. Okay, so basically, what happened is our inventory over the last month is we were like 3.5 pounds short,
Uh-huh.
and I work at a dispensary,
Yeah.
so that's a lot of weed.
Already, yeah.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of weed. And we think it was like one of the new employees, but like the higher ups were like considering like firing everybody. And it was just like they wanted to look like they were doing something about it. So
Yeah,
like
to nip the
they
issue in the
demoted
butt.
me, but low key it's only $1 difference in my pay. So
Out of everything, yeah.
And less
it's really not that
responsibility.
big of a deal. And less
But no,
responsibility.
where did that? I need to know where those 3 pounds went, to be honest. I used to work in a
I'll
shop
let
too
you
when
know.
I was like 18, 19. That was a problem. But I did my thing in there. Like I was working the tip jar, you understands, until
ever
they found
steal?
out. And then I lost my job. But
You ever
What would
steal?
you do with the tip jar? I'm sorry. I gotta
Okay.
ask because I'm somebody that used to frequent a lot of the shops early on, especially not even in this SoCal
Okay,
region, but also NorCal. Like, because I know girls that worked at this dispensary house. I know what was going on. So I need
yeah. So the pay is like, back then it was $10 an hour cash.
to. Yeah.
So and the other girls, like, they didn't have it in their heads, like, how to work the tip jar, how to, like, try to earn some whatever it was. They're younger
Mhm.
than I was at that time. So let's say somebody wanted one of the cheap-ass shake joints that we roll that I know is not even being counted into inventory.
Right.
You want 5 of those? Okay, I'm going to charge you for 2. I'm going to put the change in the tip jar.
You was stealing.
Under the
Look,
table too. That's lit.
And so look, the tip jar was shared with all of the girls. So
Got
they
it.
started to realize that the nights that Shiraz worked, they made more money. And these broads didn't understand what was going on, so they start opening their mouths
What?
and they burned the spot up. And I was helping, I was trying to feed everybody.
They made
like,
the block
what?
hot.
They made the block hot.
How you gonna get in the way of your own bag?
For real.
That's silly.
Hey, I'm
Stupid
making money, but let
broads,
me go
like,
ahead and just
dumb.
choke this shit.
I'm telling you, each of us was going home with $70 to $80. each of us. There's 4 or 5 of us. Imagine how much that, whatever that, I don't do math. Whatever that was before it was split.
$400, $300.
That's a
together.
nice pot.
Yeah.
But they didn't get it. But for a while, I was going home with some money in my pocket, some extra money in my pocket. But I wasn't like stealing actual merchandise. And I know like the shake joints, like we were giving them for free on occasion. It's like they just were not counted. So was I hurting anyone or stealing?
Yeah. I don't know if you were hurting anyone, but you were definitely stealing, which is okay.
That's a fact. Like, there's no way around that point, probably. It's all right.
Yeah.
On the lowest of keys, my mom used to do this thing. Like she said, one of her first jobs was she worked at Coney Island in New York. And this is in like the 80s, maybe.
Okay.
So she worked like one of the stands where you fucking shoot water into something to get a prize. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she would tell people on dates, like she would tell the dude, like, yo, if you just slide me like $15-$20, I'll give you the big one. You know what I'm saying? And just act like you won or whatever the fuck. And my mom would take home money because...
Okay, I don't think your mother was stealing. I think she was hustling.
That was an amazing hustle. She told me that story. I was like, damn.
And she's helping out men too.
She's smart.
Okay.
You real smart,
She's
Mom.
helping out the guys too.
Right?
It's kind of lit.
For real.
I mean, really.
Imagine.
Talking about helping out guys, though.
Oh, shit.
I'm glad
how do we...
I'm glad
Talking
you
about helping
I'm really
out
glad
guys.
you caught that alley-oop. That was good. That was some chemistry. That was the first time we might have seen it.
Wow, magic. For real, though. Okay, so this episode, we're going to be addressing a very hot button topic at the moment, thanks to Mr. Kevin Samuels and these viral broads. But we're going to talk about high-value men and women. Personally, I don't know how I feel about this conversation. I fall on both sides.
I don't know how I feel about thanking Kevin Samuels.
For this BS?
There's
about anything.
Well,
for anything. Yeah.
There's a lot of... Well, there's actually just one podcast that's really doing this content really well. The Fresh and Fit podcast. They're doing it really well. They're like an exclusive like dating, getting yourself together, fitness-wise and money-wise podcast that teaches not women not how to hate men, but how to realize what the game is, how to play it, and know how to get yourself to a point to where when you do got to deal with women, you know how to do it respectfully. Like, they don't ever tell women to bash men, but they try to tell men how to understand how women operate in this day and age.
Sounds like manipulation to me.
No, not at all. I mean, if anything, women are the ones that are trying to manipulate the situation.
All right, so again, I don't know how I feel about this topic. I'm gonna let Jordan lead. How do we even get into this?
I mean, let's just go off. Let's just start slow. Let's just talking about dating, especially now since like social media has become this big. It's become a new industry in the dating life.
And we're also talking about like a specific realm of dating because obviously there's always exceptions to everything going on. But we're talking specifically like pop culture, cis hetero,
correct,
like almost basic, like the most basic
type of relationship
that you can think of. Like that's what we're speaking on because obviously there's always exceptions and like
there's
we've
way
all
too
had
many nuances
pertaining to those, but like we're just speaking on generalities.
Yeah, I'm going to speak on generalities within that specific field of sexuality and that culture because outside of that, I am not qualified to speak on that.
Yeah.
Those exist. I'm sure some of them might intersect, like there might be like some things that make sense, but like there's no way I can speak on everything.
No.
It's impossible and it's disrespectful. I wouldn't do that. So I want to make that very clear for anybody who's joining in just now. Is specifically on cis heterosexual relationships in this era since social media and the internet has been popping. Really like post 2010, I would think. Like I think social media really started popping. Like MySpace was a thing until like 2006, 2007, which is when Facebook really started popping. MySpace died off. Really at that point. And like we were all so young, at least all our age, we were too young to really understand how big of a thing MySpace would have been. Like, even if you think about it now, like I would love the old MySpace now.
Exactly.
Because like think about how lit that would be.
But
like,
that's Android versus iPhone.
Right.
MySpace
Like obviously
Android,
you get an older
Facebook
interface, there's different things obviously. And they try to update it and obviously that didn't work. It just became a platform for like artists, but it was the worst type of platform.
Till this day, there's no app or website that lets you put a fucking profile song. Why they still haven't given us that? That was the best part of MySpace.
And you could.
We can't even do that with any other app.
That's how I knew I liked to code. Like now I like to code.
That
Like now I'm trying to
shit.
become a professional coder. Like that's my inspiration. I didn't even know I liked to until back.
That's where our generation
That's what
started.
I was doing.
So crazy.
They literally forced you to, if you wanted a cool profile.
Yeah.
I mean, some people could get away with it, whatever. Because
I was Googling copy pasting. That was it. Like I didn't know nothing about that.
That's a lot of the work people don't know.
You knew what to Google copy paste. So.
And yeah, I was
It's
making the
learning.
text bold. I was making shit flash. Like, there's a whole lot popping on my MySpace. My mom beat my ass because the song on my MySpace was Sexy Bitch Akon.
Oh.
In retrospect, it's not so bad compared to what we're listening to now, but she whooped my ass when she knew that.
I would have done the same
What was your
thing.
first MySpace song?
Oh,
One of the
tough.
first, like, not even one of the first, but what is one of the ones that you can remember being on there a long time? You know what I'm saying? Because the first, I don't know, I couldn't remember. But everybody knows the time and period of life where they can remember that MySpace song that was like.
Man, I think my first MySpace song was The Game, Put You on the Game. Because that's when that album had first came out, and it was like my favorite album at the time. And that was like one of the standout records, besides the singles, of course.
Facts.
But
Yeah,
I just love that song. So that was my first song I remember back in the day.
I can agree with that.
It's crazy how all of this really has shaped dating culture, like, to this day.
Literally, like, that was a thing. I think my first MySpace song was "Explosive" by Dr. Dre.
Oh shit!
like,
Wow.
I was really that guy. Like, I was on LimeWire and FrostWire all the time, just looking for music.
Frostwire, I forgot
Yo, it was
about
LimeWire
that.
got caught up, and then FrostWire came out. I was like, oh
I'm gonna see if anybody catches this one. iMesh.
No.
Whew, that
What the hell is
Kaza,
an iMesh?
maybe.
iMesh was before LimeWire.
Nah,
Oh,
I
no.
was on Kaza before that. That was, which I feel like it's two of the same probably going, but like
That's crazy.
Oh, file share.
Imagine how, at the same time,
Yeah.
as much as I would want MySpace, how would having a top 8 or
Top
top
8 right
24
now?
affect your
Instagram now? Can you imagine if
relationship
Instagram had
right
top
now?
8? Yeah,
That
if
shit would be
Instagram had a top
crazy.
8.
Yo, men would be pulling guns out on women over the top 8 instead of just saying, no, I don't want to date you, sir.
Everybody would
Actually,
be
I
in
think it would be
shambles.
more healthy, low key, for like men's jealousy specifically.
How?
If we had like a top 8, because we do need to normalize like women needing to like be able to like be friends with niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is, it's about the standard that you set at the beginning of the relationship. So if you started dating someone and you're like, oh, this dude is like her number 3, they must fucking go back. You know what I'm saying? It's different than like being on Instagram
Maybe
and then
he
you
can have
find
some
out about
respect
it
for that
later. You
relationship.
know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Nah, because then I gotta think about it. If my man has a top 8 and it's
forces
a bitch
honesty.
number 2, I'm gonna have an issue.
And it forces honesty. It better to deal with it now than down the
does it?
road.
What?
Does it?
Or
Were people honest with MySpace at top 8?
No, it was very
I was.
strategic.
I was definitely like honest, like, oh, this is like for real. This is my friend. If that boundary is ever overstepped, check me. But like, this is my friend, and I feel like it's better to establish that up front than like down the relationship. Be like, oh, this is
What,
this
Jonte?
homie I didn't tell you about that I go back with.
I mean, I low key agree that does make a lot of sense. But I mean, back like during the time, we were all probably like not even adults yet. So I don't think I was fucking anybody on my top 8. That's the problem.
But also, you might not have had a
That's
top
true.
8.
Yo,
You might have had a
that's a
top
fact, though.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember they
Somebody
upped
making
it.
your 18 is different than somebody making your number 6.
Facts. That's also
Yeah,
a fact.
that is a fact though. That's like making rapper like all-time sports lists. It's like, yeah, this person obviously differs from this person a lot.
Mhm.
Between 10 and 20 is a big difference. 5 and 10 is huge. Yeah, I hear that.
So
Good time.
lately, there's been a lot of conversation that Beyoncé would not be Beyoncé without a JayZ by her side specifically.
Okay.
Am I right? Am I getting it right?
No. So what? Okay, I just want to be clear. The reason why I brought that up to you is because when we talk about dating in this culture in this time period, a lot of people when we talk about how high value men, however you want to slice it up, it's usually men that are in the top 10% of earning potential, top 10% of men that are tall enough to provision, and the top 10 men that are fit enough and are good suitors to have children. And those men are so few and
Far between.
far between that a lot of these women are chasing, a majority of these women are chasing these top percentage of men. And so because of that, when men try to argue on the side of like, look, a lot of you women are chasing these small percentage of men. So a lot of these men that are average are getting left out.
The 1%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they make exceptions like, well, JayZ and, Beyoncé. I'm like, look, this isn't the second week I'm going to do this Beyoncé, but I love Beyoncé. I'm going to say this. Beyoncé knows for a fact that she cannot replace JayZ. But JayZ can replace Beyonce.
I
Let me explain.
disagree.
And let me explain.
Thank you.
Let me explain. Because
These be the conversation.
somebody's going to be upset, but I have to be honest because nobody's going to let be honest with you guys because a lot of people are going to tell you some stuff because they want something from you, and I don't. So,
how can JayZ replace Beyonce?
I'm gonna tell you.
See, and then that's the fucked up part is I understand that it can be done.
It can be done. You know what? You know why? Because
it can.
You know why? Because Beyonce realizes that one, JayZ provides not only provision and security, but he's also a different type of male. He's in the top 0.001%. He does everything that every woman wants, but he's also everything and more. It's harder to find another of him than it is for him to find, even though they're a special case because Beyonce not only was young, hot, and attractive, but she was talented at the time, and they both worked, and they both were music artists. So this is a very nuanced argument. So like using Beyonce and JayZ isn't the best example because there's so many nuances, but at the base of it, it's the same. He can go find another young, hot, attractive woman that could not even bear another child, but that could accumulate to his program and his lifestyle. The only difference in this factor is that not only one, do they have a baby together, but they're a power and business couple together. Period. But on the flip side, when he cheated on
doesn't lose his value if he loses a Beyonce. I'm just wondering.
He doesn't. No,
not at all. He doesn't get no notches.
Let me tell you why. You know why? Because when she, I know he still would game his right regardless. Because when he cheated, she stayed because she knew there's no way I can go out.
For us, it sucks. For women, it sucks.
No, the facts. But like, that's a fact. But if she wanted to go find like another JayZ, it's not gonna happen. But he could go find another woman.
There's how many millionaire companies are there? She could find somebody.
There's not another.
No. You know why? No, there's not. There's plenty more women that are attractive and young that are men that are successful, attractive, are fit, can provide provision, security, and do all these things that women nowadays want. Which is no problem. I don't have a problem with that. But like, we have to be honest with how the standards have changed. On a general scale of probabilities, exceptions do not make the rule. Facts of the matter is, I know plenty of people that break this generation. Like me personally in my friend group, I know people who break this, and that's great. But when you look at the general probabilities of the world, social media has taken to a point where now anybody from any place in the world, if they look good enough and they fit the qualities for the person, they have access to them. It was never like that before. And why I say so, because of that, JayZ and Beyonce is a terrible example because there's too many nuances. And the matter of fact is, there's no way Beyonce could find another JayZ, but JayZ could find another Beyonce. And the fact that he could find somebody who's young, attractive, and talented. Period.
For me, I feel like if JayZ got like if JayZ and Beyonce split up, I'm looking at JayZ different. Like,
why?
How you let your family fall apart.
That's why it's different though.
Like
that's why I'm saying this is different because like. It's also a lot of that is usually when the family splits up. It's the women initiating. Women initiate 80% of divorces. You can look. This is a fact. This is not like
your stats over here.
What?
Don't be researching women leaving men and bringing that over here.
Why? And it's not.
You know why men probably don't file for divorce? Because they don't want the woman to take half.
No, but you know why? You know why that's not true? Because a lot of men aren't in this top echelon. A lot of men don't have shit to offer when they get a divorce.
Men are taught to look at commitment differently.
Yeah, and men also the
whether
ones
they do or not is different case by case. But men are definitely culturally taught to look at commitment differently because we're taught to even like date differently. Because to be honest, like as a man, like I can say like growing up, I saw like generally what's popular is to not take no as a no. So you know from
that's
jump,
the problem. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that the whole dating culture for like a hetero man is fucked if you're trying to compete with what the idea of that is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
let's be clear. A lot of this shit, because the way it is, doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like nothing that we're gonna say today. I don't think that it's necessary. Some of it's right, some of it's wrong, but that doesn't mean that's the way it should be. What it should be and how you feel are two different things. Reality does not conform to social constructs.
Damn, Cameron said what I wanted is not what I got. He didn't lie to me.
But like, it's just the only JayZ Beyonce thing is just funny because that's such a like extreme.
Do you know why a Beyonce wouldn't leave? I would think wouldn't because
she didn't.
She
didn't.
I don't think that she would have a problem finding another wealthy man. At that point, it comes down to relatability and him understanding her. Because they have the same career.
They came up together.
Exactly. They've been around for so long. Who else is going to relate to that woman or that man the same?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even just his wealth. It's what he can provide for her outside of that. And that's the difference. Like, he was able to do that before they were both huge, huge stars. They were, like, don't get me wrong. JayZ, when he got with Beyonce, I think he had just come on as like that guy, and she was coming on to be that person, but they weren't what they were now. So it's just harder at this point to be at the top of the mountain, to go back down and try to look down as a woman. Like, it's gonna be hard. It just is. Like,
imagine what his bar is now.
Yeah.
His bar is lower. Hers is higher.
I disagree.
I don't. I think, but if you wanted to, I'm saying, because if you break up with her, like, you automatically,
I agree with Jordan.
men are logical. They're not, most of the time men are logical. But like, it's a bad example because I feel like when you divorce your wife, I feel like certain things have to happen. So maybe, maybe for him it might be different, but for like most people at that point, they're just looking, okay, who can I find, attract, and actually build another family with? You know what I'm saying? So they got to be young, got to be attractive.
If that's what you want, though,
if that's what you want, that's what I'm saying.
After divorce, is kind of like, man, I'm cool off.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Kanye
I don't know, JayZ at this point, maybe
probably was about to happen with Kanye. Like,
maybe
I don't see Kanye wanting to like rush back into a marriage or nothing for sure.
Right, and that's why I feel like some of these examples aren't great, because when you have kids or legally binding things to your property, especially kids, not even property, we're just talking about kids, like, that's different. Custody of actual human life that is your flesh and blood becomes completely different. That's why Beyoncé and JayZ is a bad thing, because they have more than just a marriage; they have kids together.
Well,
I feel like we look at JayZ and Beyonce to be the example of, even if it wasn't working between them, to still be the good co-parents.
It looks like it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like we would all assume that even if they were to break up, that JayZ and Beyonce would still co-parent really well.
And that's probably exception to like what's probably happening most of the time.
And which is
all these
probably
people
why
have
they
like
stay
6 nannies for their kids, guys.
Well,
Let me be
I
so
don't know,
serious
like,
right
this
now.
I'm a nobody talking about what I feel like is going on to like incredibly successful people's lives.
That speaks to your point on why it's really a bad example to use as like.
Okay, so let's get into
exactly
the rest of it. I need you to lead us today, because today
that's fine.
I don't know about today.
All right, let me just ask you, because you're the woman. You're gonna help me lead it. What do you look for in a man long term?
Okay. See.
And then we'll go to then we'll talk about what women probably generally want.
Yeah,
we'll go
because
what
I want, I know that it's like much simpler in the thought process than what other women are expecting of their men. For me, all that I care about is how you make me feel, and that like you genuinely care for me and you love me. Do I care if you can provide? Do I care? Well, I'll have to have been attracted to you for talking, so that's already done. Do I care how tall you are? Like, a lot of the things, a lot of the animalistic type things that women are, the boxes that they're checking, like, they don't matter to me.
Interesting.
But what do you mean when you say care for me?
Yeah.
Like, I need your feelings to be genuine. That's a good point you brought
that up, because we're going to talk about why.
You need him to be like emotionally present and engaged,
available
within the relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Present.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I need access off, like, whenever.
Access for what?
I need
everything.
I need to use your brain whenever I need your brain.
That's funny that you said access. Keep going though. I know it's just interesting to hear, like,
yeah. What else? Being trustworthy, but that should be normal, yeah. But that is it, really. Like, I don't want to say I don't have high standards, because I do. I expect the same of my partner the way I expect of myself. But I'm only looking that we have a genuine connection, and like we legit care for each other. Like, after that, everything else can kind of happen on its own. We have something to build on. I'm not looking for you to bring me a bag.
No.
No.
You want somebody to take care of you?
I take care of myself, and now I'm in the position, if I wanted, to take care of somebody else if need be. Like, that's not what I'm looking for.
How do you feel about something like financial security being an important part of the relationship? Like, do you feel like that's a healthy thing, or do you not look for someone to bring you a bag because you feel like there's something wrong with that?
No, I don't.
Interesting.
You guys do. Men don't do. You told me earlier men don't think about that kind of thing. But I know,
will give my perspective out of it.
But I know women are searching for men that can take care of them. Like,
and
my mother is a
housewife,
and like she has like degrees to be a like she's a nurse. Right. She's certified, but
there's nothing wrong with that either. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
But I couldn't do that. I couldn't be that woman.
How much is his ability to earn income a deal breaker? Because you say you don't care about it.
Yeah.
But there has to be some scale of like a standard.
I wouldn't call it income. I need you to be driven.
Okay.
I need you to have ambition.
This is where I gotta step in because driven is synonymous to ambitious. Ambitious is synonymous to earning potential. What do you mean by driven? Because that really, to me, just sounds
you
like
have to want more for your life.
What? What kind of want?
Earning potential.
Earning potential, right? Because eventually that's what it comes down to. Like he's got to do. Because like when men strive for more, the fact of the matter is men have to become. They have to do more.
Self-sufficient.
They have to become self-sufficient. Yeah. They have to provide for themselves in order to provide for somebody else, and that's.
But I want that not because I want your money, because I think that's attractive. Like.
Okay, exactly.
But it's not for money.
That proves my point. Is that
yeah? Because the best way I can think to put it is like no one's looking to a man to be a muse.
Yeah. That's my point. It's like
generally
she just said it without saying it, which also points to my fact that men and women communicate differently, which is totally fine. But women will say, "I want a man that's driven or ambitious." When in reality, they just want somebody that can provide.
No, I just don't want a fucking bum. Like what?
I hear you, but I'm saying that's not my problem. My problem is the fact that women.
I don't care if you work at McDonald's. If you're there at 5 o'clock in the morning,
stop it. You would date a man. So you would date a man that's making $40,000 a year?
Yes, I have.
No, seriously, like marry them. Like you would have their baby. That's what I'm talking about. We're not talking about fucking. Let me be very clear. What we're talking about right now is not just having sexual attraction somebody.
I don't even think as far as having a baby. I don't even know where the men are at.
You know what I'm talking about though. Long term. But you know what I'm talking about. Long term.
I think she would.
$40,000 a year.
Yeah, for me, I don't care because I can take care of myself. So
you want someone who's gonna. You want someone that you know they're gonna try.
Yeah.
So they're trying for you if they're working at McDonald's for the next 20 years in your relationship.
Yeah, but if he's dating me.
Not dating you. You guys are together.
If we're together, he will not be satisfied with that. He can't watch me do what I do.
Like married, gonna have children. You're good with that.
Yeah, at that point, he's staying home.
Okay. All right.
See, that's how I feel. Because to be honest, if we talking about like norms right now, like I'm trying. Like I love the idea of flipping gender norms. I'm trying to be.
It's not reality
like,
though.
With my girl, I'm the damsel in distress.
That's not reality though.
Come save me. You're my knight in shining armor, baby. Come.
That ain't reality.
That's so cute.
But it's just not fairy tale. The fact of the matter is, fairy tale endings in Disney stories. I grew up on Disney stories. It's really crippling a lot of men and what dating culture is now because women will say this. I'm not saying you won't do this because I believe you, but I'm saying generally this is not how it is.
That's what's nuts.
And that's what it's nuts, but it's not like it's like for me, I understand I'm figuring it out now. Like I understand the way it works, but I'm not complaining about it. It is what it is. Like women want certain women have risen their expectations of men. And men, at the end of the day, have to adhere to them, or they don't.
My expectations are low because
not
I don't.
You.
But I need to understand something. If I'm not caring about money or status, my expectations are low all of a sudden.
I don't even think your expectations are low. I would say they're specific.
Yeah. Your expectations are specific. I'm saying women's standards have changed. They've gone up over time, whereas men's have relatively stayed the same. It's not specific to you.
I don't know, guys.
I think that partially has to do as a result of like patriarchy and how women are allowed to think as far as like their freedom. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say in the Middle East, that's why. A man is always the breadwinner. He's always the provider. The woman is just like in default playing this role.
Well, in the U.S., that's how it was for a long time until literally like
we wanted our
until
rights.
social media, which is fine. Like a lot of that comes with
until Bernie Sanders legalized gay marriage
I have no problem with that. Women having more power, getting more rights. I have no issue with that. But what comes with responsibility, comes power, comes responsibility. And so women need to take accountability for what they're asking for, what they actually deserve, and what they're going to get. Like when you were asking,
you're not asking for it from the beginning of time. This has been your role.
No, it hasn't.
To be the provider.
No, it hasn't been. No, it is not. Been. Women have not been chasing.
Since when did women just go pick berries and you guys go hunt the animals?
Africa.
A lot, but forever. What are you talking about?
That's how it works.
There's a whole bunch of different.
No, but I'm saying
so many different
women
dynamics.
don't want that guy. They don't want the guy that's going to pick the berries. They want the guy that owns the factory that is processing the berries. Say what you want. I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. Like we're not gonna do that. Like this is not how it is. A lot of women do not operate in this reality. Some women do, and I'm not talking to you guys. The exception does never make the rule here. I'm talking on a general scale of probabilities. This is what's happening. That's why you're a good and bad example because you actually live a little bit in reality. I will give it. You do live in reality. Like you actually believe what you say, and I hear what you're saying. And I feel like that's exactly how you feel because I know people who have operated like that and their families operate like that. Like the woman is the breadwinner and the dad stays home. And it works out and it's fine because I'm sure.
See, that's what I want, but picturing it drives me nuts. What the
okay.
It's fine.
We'll talk about that. Why does it drive you
Why
nuts?
does he drive you
thinking
nuts?
about it?
You just defend it. You try to fight me out about it for about 2 minutes.
Because I know myself. At some point, I'm gonna look at you.
You're gonna lose
like
the
I said, I
traction,
don't
right?
want to bum. Yeah.
Exactly. That's my
Like,
and that's it.
If you're sitting at home with my child, she better be in karate. You better be taking her on strolls. Like she better have her day jam packed. And you too.
Better be making money still.
I will. That's the point.
No, him.
Oh.
Like he's got to do more, and you know it. That's because you lose attraction.
When baby goes to school, then
because you want an alpha male that has beta characteristics that doesn't exist. You want an alpha male. You just don't want to say it like that.
Dead.
I think that like
you do.
The blame for a lot of what we see that causes anger on both sides stems from something that a lot of people don't talk about. I think that what's happening, at least in just like general cis hetero basic culture, is like something that kind of happens with racism too, where you get people who feel oppressed, right, and want to weaponize the same thing that their oppressors did to them against the oppressors. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
who are you talking about specifically on this?
Women. No, women against men now.
Because they feel like they didn't really have a leverage, and now they feel like they
want men to have less, which is understandable, but at the same time,
conversely, men have the leverage though now.
And it's so funny. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of what we deal with right now, as far as just like disagreements in cis hetero dating culture, stems from the fact that I think women think men have a lot more power than men feel like they do. Whether they actually have that power is up for debate or not. But men don't feel like they generally have as much power as women feel like they do. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like for a lot of cis hetero men, they feel like they're putting all the power in the woman's hands.
Let's be clear.
To tell me what you want.
I'm gonna just go around the room because I've done this. How much of a percentage do you think of men are having sex with all the women, Jonte?
With all the women?
Yeah. Let's just put it like.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like who have even the access or the ability?
Yeah, like what do you mean?
No, having sex access, not the ability, because any man can fuck anybody. But like,
I feel like probably 5 to 10% of all men probably have access,
like a good
or
amount
not
of
even
access.
access.
A good amount of
access.
access.
Having sex.
Have the ability to fuck all of the women.
Okay. What about you?
What are you asking? 70%, 80%.
You think 80% of men are having sex with the majority of women?
I think you guys are fucking everybody.
Okay.
Wait.
No.
They're asking how much out of all men
do
you think can bag?
Not even like can bag, are bagging. That's
like are bagging most women.
It's not can. See, that's why I'm being specific. Who actually is? It's not can. Because
actually is even smaller.
Some can, but won't though.
Okay, I'm just talking about who is.
Generally
okay,
speaking,
probably 10%.
Semantics, but I'm talking about who.
Okay, I got
who do you think actually is?
10%.
I say 2%.
10 to 20% of all men are having sex with 80 to 90% of the women.
I say 2%.
No, it's 10 to 20%.
All in total?
It's all in total.
Yeah.
They did studies on OkCupid, Tinder. I've done the research on Bumble. Okay. A lot of women feel like 80% of men on there are unattractive. They don't find them attractive.
Yeah.
The reason is because a lot of their standards are looking for things that are in such a high percentage of men, a low percentage of men.
Those men are not on those apps.
Okay, so Shiraz, are you?
They're not. That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
So guess what? They're looking through trying to find these men, and guess what they think? Ugly.
It's a needle in a haystack.
They don't got it. So that's why that's why a lot of guys I know, unless you have something to offer immediately, a lot of them are like, I'm not getting no play on Tinder. Why would you, dog? Like, women that are that attractive, the ones that you're looking for, don't need to be on dating apps. A lot of attractive women are not on dating apps. It's a fact. Why do you think when you go to Tinder Gold, if anybody's ever done Tinder Gold, it has 80 matches?
I don't know what that means.
Bruh, I
signed up for that shit one time, and I don't know what any of that means.
Exactly my point.
We were talking earlier.
You're proving my point. Look, why would you be on Tinder? Exactly my point.
But I signed up.
But like you're not. But I'm saying like you don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's sad as fuck that I even had to sign up.
You don't have to sign up. That's my point.
I don't want to stigmatize Tinder though, because to be honest, a lot of people who are on Tinder, like really are just people who are busy, who don't have the time. You know what I'm saying? So you do get sometimes you do get people who are like really doing well off for themselves, like don't have to worry about dating, but for real just don't want to go through the trouble of like
who's benefiting
like dating. And when we were talking earlier about like vibes, you know what I'm saying?
You
as far
guys
as
are
like
funny with that
vibes what
word.
women want. And I think of like Tinder, right? Like we were talking about game and how deep game runs. Like me personally, like when I was on Tinder, I'm a faithful man now, a man of God. I've never touched any woman besides
black men don't cheat.
Besides the woman that I'm with now. But
black men don't cheat.
Like as far as game goes, like I know when I was on Tinder, something that I'm not gonna lie to you, this worked 90 to 95% of the time. All I would do is I would Google one of the most random facts you could think of.
Oh my God! Look at him.
Wait, because what matters more than anything else, if you're like online dating, is that first message, right?
Oh, facts. Oh, yeah,
so you want to say something that they're not used to getting. If you comment anything about their appearance, they're used to it.
Yeah.
If you're asking them about themselves, they're used to it. So what I would do is, what you do if you get a message that says, "Hey, did you know Heinz ketchup was invented in the 1800s as a cure for indigestion?"
I'm like, who is this
he
man?
He just gave you guys free 99 a game. I used to do that shit too.
Sure.
And that's the thing is, it's not flirty. It's not even conversational. But if I send you some random shit like that, you're gonna respond.
And to piggyback off of that, look what you have to do. Let's just think about this. Look what you have to do just to get attention.
To separate yourself.
From like that's how many men are trying to go for these small amount of women.
Guys, you're saying the opposite. First, there's mad women and only this many good men now.
No, but I'm saying women are the ones who are getting all the options come to them. Men have to go and work. We have to push multiple platforms.
You don't think we got the trash?
You don't have nothing. All you have to do is filter.
You don't have to do anything.
We gotta take the trash out every
You have to do
fucking
nothing.
day.
You have to
filter through trash.
You just
That's
exist and you have value. Women exist to have value. Men have to build their value. Women have to. They have to.
You have to choose.
You guys have to. What's that called? You have to, what is that? Protect your value. Like your job is.
I call it protecting your pieces.
Protect your piece. Protect your value. You got to make sure it doesn't go down. There's a lot of things you can do.
Whether that value is valuable or not.
If they don't up their value, they are automatically scooted out of society. If they're not in shape, if they're not making money, they're not socially inept. All that stuff. You're out.
I could tell you mad friends that fit the description that have like mad babies. So what's happening?
Charm.
Some women. They are still falling for these men.
Facts, exceptions. Like I said, exceptions.
Are they? I feel like
Charm.
that's majority.
No, it's not. If you really think all men are just having sex wildly, you live in a fairy tale.
That's all they would have to offer.
You're living in a fairy tale reality if you think that's the case. I'm just letting you know that's not happening.
And it's not even that much charm. It's enough charm to end up nutting in someone. If I'm being honest.
Let me be honest with you. These women that are doing that, they also have to settle for them because they don't have both. Like with two people who meet at the same level. Like a lot of them, they have to they don't have much room to go up or down. Like if they're, I'm not gonna get specifics, but if you can think about two people on the same level, just looks wise, earning potential, what they can provide for each other, what else are you gonna do?
I feel like this plays into like the pick me conversation.
Jordan saying settling.
A lot of people have to settle if you're not at a certain point in your life. I'm gonna be very clear here.
If you are not, die alone than settle. Straight up.
And a lot of women do, and I'm gonna tell you, a lot of women, you know who the majority of people that are on antidepressants? Women. Past their 30s, because a lot of them.
Blame them. I understand.
Not saying you, but I'm just saying a lot of women are because they spend a lot of their youth trying to. They should do whatever they want to. I'm not saying nobody should never try to strive to be what they want to. Women, please do all that you can, but you have to know the responsibility becomes when you become more successful. Your dating pool closes because reality is most women will not date below. They're dating at their level or above. So when you start getting to 6 figures conversations, you have to start dating men. They're in 6-figure conversations. But what happens when you do that? Is a lot of men that are in these upper echelons. A lot of the women are coming to him, so they have the leverage.
Now they got the pick of the litter.
Exactly. And so now they can do whatever they want. So they might love you. Like I said, a guy of that status could love you, give you a kid, provide for you, but will still do whatever he can on the side. But it doesn't mean shit to him. It's not the same way the other way around.
You don't love me then.
That's a fact. He definitely does. Men and women show love differently. A man that is willing to die for you, provide for you, and give you security loves you to death. Men do not treat sex the same way that women do. That's a fact. Women, it's a fact.
I'm sensitive. I'm a little different, but
I don't agree with this.
Of course you don't. But like it's fine.
Again, we're speaking on generalities.
I'm saying of course you don't because a lot of people. there's going to be exceptions to every rule.
Exactly, and I even said at the beginning that I feel alienated in the culture of like cis heteroness. Right. So that just speaks to
and
it,
there's a lot of people that feel like that, but there's a lot of people
Yeah.
who don't. They really fall into the general norm of how shit works. That's most of it, how it works.
And that's part of why I had to come up with stuff as interesting as random facts on the internet, because I know I'm not the typical cis hetero type guy. They're not going to see me and be like, oh, that's a buff dude dressed in clothes that I'm used to, who has a charm that I'm used to seeing. They're going to see me and be like, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
Because you know why? Because you have to figure out a way to provide value up front. Even if it's that small of a thing.
Even if it's humor.
Exactly. Like, he has to provide value up front just because of that. That's what I'm saying. That's part of it.
Well, interest.
You have to
interest
value.
The value, I mean, like interest enough to be able to provide value. I guess
as a hetero man, if you can master vibes, you'll be fine.
Yeah. If you guys know how to talk to women, read women, like
the word vibes does
language,
something I can't.
Sure.
I mean, if
I can't take it seriously.
Like, this is gonna sound so stupid.
Women use vibes all the
simple.
time, but it's like
this is gonna sound so stupid and simple. But I've gone out with so many like straight guy friends before that like. It's like going out with cavemen for real. Like they don't understand. Like they really can't pick up. They can't pick up on the social cue that a woman's not feeling them. And then I go to just see what my friends are doing. And next thing you know, there's a group of women there that are happy that I'm saving them from these people that I came with. You know what I'm saying? And I'm embarrassed, and they see me being embarrassed, and they're more attracted to me because they see that I can.
Chivalry?
Do something as simple as
not even chivalry. They're just picking up on social cues. That's game. A lot of that is game. That's what. But you know what? Also, the problem is
You're
women
gaming
are.
them?
Not even. I'm not even. Here's the thing. I have truly been in situations.
Is it because we seem like a man who's a protector or something?
No. Literally, I've been out before where I've just been in a situation where I've noticed that women are uncomfortable, and they see me noticing that the women are uncomfortable, and I am favored higher than other men around me just because I noticed.
And I agree with that 110,000%, because a lot of, you know what it is? A lot of women, you know how they say women develop faster than men? Women develop social cues way easier than men, way quicker than men.
Because they have to deal with
more people. So like men, like I said, a lot of women aren't coming up to men. Men have to go out and cold approach. So they're not, men who are scared to do so or won't do so are not interacting with a lot of women. Because of that, they don't know how to pick up on social cues, body language, how you're saying it. Not even what you're saying, how you're saying it, your eyes, everything. Whether you're turning to me or not. All these things are little things that people who have vibes or game will pick up on and know how to pick up. When you walk into a group, you'll know.
Little things like walking past a woman. And if you have any homies in your circle, guys, if you have any homies in your circle that are walking past women and grabbing them by their waist as they pass them to say, excuse me, your homies are fucking weirdos. They're creeps.
Yeah, you need to.
Have you ever grabbed one of your niggas by their hips and been excuse me, and your dick grazed their booty a little bit?
Like, we gotta talk about it. We can't. Yeah,
y'all know what you're doing.
It's just creepy.
It's creepy though. But like, there's a difference between doing that and subtly knowing how to escalate physical touch if you're out with a lady.
Yeah,
way different. That's between
her leg is touching
game
mine.
and being creepy.
That's the difference between that and her leg is touching mine. We're sitting next to each other and we're vibing.
Yeah, that's way different. But like, a lot of guys just try to go 0 from 100. They wonder why women don't like them. Like, no duh, bro.
You know what it is, though, man. I feel you. You're right, but at the same time, rhythm.
Okay.
I feel what you're saying about that being creepy, right? And it is, but the interesting part about that, like, is really whatever it is that you do is only creepy if you're not desirable.
Yes.
You know
right?
What?
And
I disagree.
And you are completely right.
That doesn't mean that the act itself isn't that, but I'm talking
that
about
is how they
it's perceived by the woman. And you know, like, I feel like a lot of men would do stuff like that just because they have this like almost delusional arrogance about them. That's like, oh, I'm that dude. Like, you know, women fuck with me. Like they're gonna want that.
Yeah, but if we're into you, we like that kind of stuff.
It does vary because it depends on if the woman wants to be wanted by that man.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, it's creepy, but at the same time, it's only creepy case by case.
But here's the thing: is if I'm homies with like if one of my homies tells me that she's out and a nigga grabs her and it's a random nigga, I'm gonna be like, yo,
it's upsetting.
That might not be.
No, it's
like, you might need to look into that a little bit because the dude who's grabbing every single woman at the bar by their waist, it has a different kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean the way he's thinking.
Certain people do it probably 90% of the time it would be okay.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking about
weird.
You say that, but I'm just talking about how it's perceived.
I know
you're
that I
right.
do that.
I hear what you're saying. How it's perceived by women,
It just depends on who it is. Like, you're right. You probably shouldn't do that, but some people can.
It's not like it never goes well.
Yeah. So like what he's saying is like doesn't mean just because it happens and it doesn't mean that it's right, but it's how it's perceived. Like a lot of stuff doesn't conform to like actually.
But the thing is, I feel like a lot of this stuff that we're talking about kind of muddies the water when we get into the culture of what is and isn't consensual. If I'm being honest. You know what I'm saying? Because if you say something like niggas grabbing women by their waist is creepy, right? It's kind of creepy. If we're talking about the action overall, and then we're talking about how it goes case by case. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
If you're acting different case by case, then the waters of what's consensual or not becomes so muddied that's why it becomes important enough to be like, nah, you probably just shouldn't do that generally.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I what shouldn't happen
to a stranger
does happen is different. So I hear you though. It shouldn't happen, but the fact of the matter is, like I was telling you earlier, you can't. I mean, it's not women's fault, but like you can't really expect men to have temperance and respect for every woman that they come across. Unfortunately,
I mean, you can't.
You can't do
you
it.
Can't. You could.
You know that it's not.
Could expect.
You know
that.
you can expect it, but you know that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you should expect that, but at the same time, you can't really expect men to not do what can work. You see what I'm saying? Like if it has worked and they've seen it work and they've done it and it has worked,
that's
can't really. You can fault them, but you can't really expect them not to do that again at some point.
You have to observe it from a place of just seeing what's happening.
I mean, it's a percentage game. It's a numbers game. Like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
And us women, our percentage, our pool is very, very small.
So with that, that's another interesting part is that women will change their goalposts depending on what's happening, who is doing what to them.
Absolutely,
that's a fact.
Yeah, so that is very true.
But it's
because that hand move could either really bother me, but if I'm into you, then that hand move could let me know, okay, you're into me as well, and then that's a whole other thing.
But how do you feel when you consider the fact that that person's doing that generally?
Well, how would she? She doesn't know that off the rip, though.
I mean,
she wouldn't
based
know.
on the fact that it's happening, you should be able to gather it.
I don't know if
that's
like
the
that.
problem. Like she doesn't.
That's a habit.
That he knows what he's doing.
Oh, I think she's especially cute, so I'm gonna put my hand on her.
Well, I'm saying
back.
she doesn't know what he's used to doing. I hear you, but she doesn't. She doesn't know what he's used to doing.
He think I'm special as a stranger.
That's fucked up.
No, like that's a
real shit.
It's a ridiculous.
Like that's how it. Like if you see him doing that,
it's a real thing. Yeah, he's not wrong. It's just
it's a real thought process. Like that's
like, really how.
I mean, when I meet a woman, if she's doing something on the first few times that we hang out, I consider maybe that's something she generally does.
Fact.
Look,
right.
For that
okay,
woman,
right.
Look, I'll just say this: like, if your celebrity crush, some people don't have one, so it don't matter. I'll just talk to you, Rhythm. If your celebrity crush were to flirt with you, even if it gets to a little point where it's like, all right, you're being pushy, that'll hit way different from somebody you don't really.
But that's how Bill Cosby happened.
Oh my God!
What did you just say?
Okay, that's a left turn.
Imagine how many women were like, "Oh, Bill Cosby's flirting with me," and then it went too far.
That's
Can
a left
turn. My stepdad said, "Where are all the Me Too women? Why is this man out of jail?" My stepfather told me, "Where's the outrage?"
Pick up Bill Cosby out of that.
I don't want to touch on that.
We can't. This is all getting cut.
We're cutting.
But what
There's no way.
That. We can say Bill Cosby should be in jail as well as every other fucking predator out there. The only thing is, Bill Cosby one of the only ones that went to jail, so we hate to see only black people go to jail.
But did you say something completely different than what you just said right now? What you start off with is not. What did you say before that?
I don't even remember.
I know.
No, I know.
That's the problem. I
This
think
is
what
he
you
said.
just said now makes sense, but before you were talking about how women should.
Bill Cosby should go to jail.
My example about high value people who kind of can starstruck
can
you
get away
bit,
with a little
being
bit more.
Forward. How that situation is perceived, it could
it.
be a lot more flattering and a lot more accepting.
Well, yeah, because they're a high value person.
And he was saying like, well, that's kind of how situations like Bill Cosby happen.
Imagine how the women
But they
felt
didn't know
like
they
the
were a
next day
dime a
being
dozen.
like,
The thing is, we don't know that.
Cosby.
We just don't know how that went down. I can't.
That's true.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
I wasn't there. I can only take what was said on both sides.
What I mean is like public perception of Bill Cosby.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yes,
imagining that it was hard for those women to come out.
Facts.
Considering that Bill
Yes.
Cosby is someone who was considered
That's
desirable.
not what I heard before. Yes, I
You know?
agree with that. I didn't hear that. I heard something else kind of before. It was kind of like not like they wanted it, but it was like they should have known better. It was like, well,
No.
I don't know if
not even they should have known better, but it's like people who are more popular, I guess, or more famous are generally allowed to get away with more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
that was my
the
point,
higher
though.
tier people for sure, 1,000%
Unfortunately.
happens.
That
That's
was
the
my-
way the culture is.
That was my point about like things being creepy on a case by case basis.
Yeah,
like
but
you see what I'm
he's
saying? Like
saying
It's
that
different when
these
they're
chicks,
famous.
it's all about how it's perceived.
yeah, these
like, you
chicks
know what
are
I mean?
thinking they're flattered that Bill
Right.
Cosby is
Exactly.
grabbing them by the waist, but they don't know this man is doing it every other night with
And
God
that-
knows
yeah,
how many women.
And that's what I mean
It's
when I
not
say
flattering.
it muddies the waters
Yeah.
of consent.
It does.
You
No, I
know what
hear
I'm
you.
saying?
I
Because
hear
they
you.
have to consider, someone else might consider this desirable. Should I even
no.
come forward? Because I sound like I'm bitching about a
From that point
something
of
that someone else
from that point of
wants.
view, yeah, that is pretty wild because that you just can't apply one situation to the next.
yeah,
when
but
you're
I want to
dealing with
button Bill
multiple women.
Cosby, so we'll just say listen to women and moving on from.
Facts.
Bill
Listen to
Cosby,
women.
in case
Listen
When
to what they're
they're
saying.
telling
Cut. Cut all
No Bill
the
Cosby
whole
at
damn
all.
thing.
Fuck me.
I don't want
Fuck
to
Harvey
Let's
Weinstein.
let's talk about.
There you go.
Yeah, fuck Harvey
You know
Weinstein.
that-
Put this in there. Fuck Harvey Weinstein. Okay.
He's been out at home on house arrest
Man, fuck
And
him.
that's
Whatever.
why I'm
before
saying.
Bill Cosby.
I mean,
You
But
know
let's-
that? No one said a thing.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about.
Just scratch his head.
Let's just
Too deep.
Let's
Moving
talk
on.
about. Let's
Moving
talk.
on.
Yeah, no. Let's move on. I want to talk about how relationships can be contractual and how I feel like that's kind of muddy the waters too about how people are looking at the different types of relationships and how they should start and end maybe these days. Because I feel there are different types. You have relationships, you have situationships, you have people just talking. There's a lot of different verbs and pronouns, not pronouns, but nouns have been created since
I
social
think
media.
that,
And once
like-
again, this goes all back to social media. People having access, mainly really women
To too
having
many.
access at this point. What?
We have access to too much.
Yeah, women have, like, people from Idaho have access to people in LA, in New York, in Miami. So before, if you were bad in these middle parts of America, you probably had to date within
you're local.
People are
your
disposable.
local. Yeah, but now you can date.
wherever.
Drake could hit you up. Bo Party. I'm just
Yeah.
like, really though.
No, yeah, on
It doesn't
Instagram-
matter. Like Instagram, honestly, out
Shiraz
of
will
everything,
not be responding to a Drake DM.
that's okay. Okay,
Believe
we're not
it.
going
No
there.
fucking
We're
believe
not
it.
going there.
You only
not going there.
wouldn't.
We're not going there.
If
I'm not
you got
going
a
to talk
Drake
about
DM,
you.
you only wouldn't.
I'm not. We're not even going there. Just keep going past. I'm just saying.
Okay.
We're just gonna keep
What
going
did Big
past.
Sean say? His chick went into the phone for who?
What?
Big Sean said, if it's Michael B. Jordan, she's not picking up or
It's
something
not Big
like that.
Big Sean.
Who
That was
said
J.
that?
Cole.
J.
And
Cole.
I'm upset that you did
Okay.
that. Because I love
fine.
Big Sean, but that was two different things. But J. Cole has also been the one who is publicly said he was doing dirt before, but he just grew up. Like shit happened.
Yeah. I feel like
he said I was. It's not the point, but like, it's just the fact that a lot of relationships these days, even with the last video we talked about, this woman felt like even after they broke up,
Yeah.
she felt like he should still be taking care of her lifestyle because that's what the words are coming out of his mouth, but not necessarily because it was actually legally binding or contractual. China goes back to the whole point of like what women expect out of a relationship versus what they actually probably deserve.
I think
Whoa,
that people
who
are just.
are you to say what a woman is deserving of?
If you think that you deserve to be taking care of me after we break up, you have the
Oh,
whole
no,
game
that's a
fucked up.
different
That's what I'm
conversation.
talking. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of, but like a lot of women do feel like even after like that.
But
I
if we're
can't-
together and I feel I deserve something, then I
no. After I'm
yeah.
talking about
After the fact,
after the
there's
fact.
no conversation to be had.
That's a good point to make.
Even
like,
during the fact, depending
I
on
mean,
what
during
it
the fact,
is.
yeah, we can talk about that, but a lot of it is what you said before it happened, what happens
Yeah.
when it's over.
It's more like what the men you're involved with feel like you deserve, rather
Okay.
than what you actually
Right.
deserve or what you feel like you deserve. Because that's subjective,
Yeah.
right? What
okay.
somebody deserves, like
Yeah.
you don't want to put that on anybody. But
Exactly.
what men feel like you deserve, the
Yeah.
men that you're involved with, that matters because that's gonna,
That's gonna affect the relationship.
exactly
Yeah.
how they.
That's a
what,
general
what,
dynamic,
consensus.
yeah.
what they're willing to do or not willing to do.
Yeah.
That's why I need my man to sincerely care about me. If that's the case, there's nothing he won't do.
But you want to be a lapdog and
That's
be
too
alpha.
loose.
Yeah, you have to be alpha, but you listen to me.
alpha is bullshit.
And you still lead.
That inherently makes no sense, Sherrod.
Alpha is
and I
bullshit.
love you, but like
that
that
term.
inherently make no sense. You just
I'ma
told
let you-
me
There's
you
a
want
middle
me to be.
somewhere.
No, there isn't. You know why? Because being an alpha automatically dismisses the second part. If you want me to be an alpha, be a leader in the relationship and push this forward, there's no way I can submit to you as well. You have to submit to that man that you want to be
I
alpha.
can only submit to a man if I. Do
If
you know
he's
what
an
it
alpha.
takes to put your whole life in someone else's hands?
But like, there's power of submission though. That means you know that
There
you've done
is.
your vetting enough to know that man is a good man enough for me to submit.
And
Hopefully.
yeah, correct.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that's why I'm saying you saying you want an alpha and a beta makes no
Why are
sense.
you laughing? That's the only way I'm willing to submit is in a relationship. I'm not submissive in any other part of my life
You shouldn't
except
be.
for
You should
in a
never be
relationship. You
should
submissive
never
because
be.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Not
from-
with
from
unless your
like
relationship.
the coldest nigga perspective I can give you. I tell people this all the time as like I like to think I'm a good person, right?
Mhm.
But I know
What's in your
that
head?
if I'm trying to get what I want out of people, that seeming like a good person is what's going to get me the best results, right? And when you think about how deep that runs,
don't
it's
like that.
you might have an alpha, right? Yo, alpha nigga could get jumped. What? We don't give a fuck. Like you think about my alpha's so tough, he can protect. Yo, alpha
I'm
can
confused
get
on
jumped.
what you're saying here.
What I mean is like this idea of like,
An alpha
someone's
male.
so prideful. Like the idea of an alpha male. No nigga is tougher than any other nigga.
not-
You
I
will
don't think
get
that's
jumped.
But it's
that's
not
not what I'm
only
saying.
about
That's not what I'm saying.
your
Yeah, no.
strength.
I'm
Being
not-
an alpha male means you can lead the
Yeah, no.
relationship. Means
Let me be
But what
clear.
I mean is like anybody can come under circumstances that breaks them. Like
Hey,
everyone
that's
has
true.
a,
Hey.
everyone has
But
a
like-
specific
Hey,
thing
look.
that
Hey,
turns.
look, that's
Like,
true.
everything
that's
has
not what I'm
specific
talking
things
about.
that
No
bring out
alpha
their
male's gonna be the toughest
sensitivity.
nigga out there. That's not my point. The point is about leading that, being an alpha in that relationship, leading the relationship, not like her looking to you to go forward, not necessarily being the toughest
You know
nigga
how
that
you
you
do
can
I
it?
beat
don't believe
everybody.
that a single nigga knows better
you
than
as
the
an
woman he's
alpha
with.
are supposed to
Mm.
in your head you make the decision to let me do whatever you want, and you can still think that you're alpha, and I can think that I'm running shit. But we both know what's
I
going
just
on
need
here.
to know what type of relationship run by a woman or country or any type of thing run by a woman has worked. That's what I need to know.
Somewhere in Europe, I think
No, it
they gave
hasn't.
an.
No, it
wait, let
hasn't.
me finish.
No, it hasn't.
I think there was I don't know if it was
Jordan,
Norway
are
or
you
Sweden, but
serious
they
right
gave,
now?
though.
they
What
gave
the
the entire
fuck?
banking system to women
What
better
happened?
than it's ever been.
What happened?
Better than it's ever been.
Wait, what?
Like
Better-
10 years later, better than it's ever been.
Better than it's
like
ever
they
been.
gave women the control.
It's still
of the
happening right
banking
now?
The
system?
banking system.
It's still happening right now?
Wait,
Okay.
what country is this?
Where is this?
It was either like Norway or Sweden.
Okay, we can
Okay,
look that
well,
up.
those
they
are
gave the banking
interesting.
That's interesting.
Those are interesting.
And it's because of like
countries.
this idea that like traditionally men are the ones that are trusted with money or like X,
Well,
Y, Z.
But we
Okay.
know the wife does the books at home, and she's
Yeah.
writing the
But I'm
checks.
talking about-
And that's why they did
Yeah.
that.
I'm really just like really men for the most part, even whatever you want to say about it. Traditionally, this is what has worked: as men are the leaders in relationships.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're going to be the toughest guys. Obviously, there could be some that could break it any time of the day. I'm talking about traditionally, like I said, generally exceptions to everything. Because that's even interesting to my point. I think that's a good point. Because even I believe, like me myself, I believe that even just like men and women, there's like and if you talking about like just Black history, just even going deeper, like men energy, masculine, feminine energy has some point where they can coincide together. But at the end of the day, like
It's a
something
blend.
always has to go above the other.
Yeah, like if you're thinking
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
chart of
Yeah,
two
yeah. You know
circles,
what I'm
there's
saying?
some stuff in the middle
There's
that
still
they
something in the middle,
share.
but there's always
Yeah.
going to be one more than another. That's really my point.
It's like you could see it as toxic, but it's like if I'm thinking just honestly, I would generally say I think of women as better at managing money.
yeah, they probably like there's no problem with that. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they're also going to ask you, okay, what should we do from here? They're going to look to you.
Yes.
They're going to look to
Yes.
you. If she respects you and loves you, she's going to look to you and be like, what should we do though?
Because she wants to have an informed opinion.
Exactly. Because she respects
Because she
you.
trusts
She
you,
trusts you.
and she
And
respects
she wants you to
both.
take leadership. She does not. It's not going to go forward swimmingly, at least.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, is my point.
I feel like a lot of people are afraid to like admit or just hear that relationships can be contractual. You know what I mean? I feel like it
I don't
bums-
like that.
feel like,
I don't like the
exactly.
thought
I feel
of
like
that
it
at all.
bums people out.
Why-
just,
No, no,
just
no.
to hear it put
I
that way
don't.
because it's not romantic.
And we
But at the
keep-
end of the day, you are entering an
a serious
agreement
one
with
too,
a party.
A serious one too at that marriage. That is all marriage.
Establish the terms that both of you want to agree to before. If somebody steps outside of those terms, then something goes. You're gonna get killed, or something's gonna go wrong.
No,
you disobey the terms.
It's just grounds for thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Are going too
grounds for termination.
You act like there's more after. Well, you just fired, dog.
Exactly. It really is contract. You set up your expectations of what the contract is going to be, or you don't, which is where a lot of people run into problems.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about. This is the issue before. We didn't get off topic. It makes sense, but like that really is the thing. A lot of people lack communication because men and women communicate differently. A lot of it is. Men communicate directly with what we want to say. Most of the time, most women will take.
Or passive aggressive? No, I'm dead.
Well, they'll just take the scenic route and get it. They'll get there.
Better.
You'll get there eventually. You have to keep reading the lines, but they'll take the scenic route to get there most of the time.
I feel like women are generally labeled as taking the scenic route because they're trying to find the deeper meaning behind things more generally than men are. You know what I'm saying?
They're logical versus
Where
emotional.
With men, it's trying to be upfront, and I feel like men often miss the deeper meaning behind things because they're just like this is the basic feeling I'm feeling. Ain't nothing deeper than that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And I think there's a middle ground, but it's also sometimes it's just, I hate saying this because everybody says it, it's just not that deep. Sometimes it's just not that deep.
Depends on the
topic.
It depends on the topic, but sometimes
it's
just not that. Generally, usually it's not. Obviously, there's some times where men should step back and be like, okay, there's probably more to what she's saying than what is actually like. There's more to it than just the surface, but like a lot of the times, it's just like it's probably
some bullshit, bro.
It's not that it's bullshit because you have to respect what's coming out of her mouth, but like you also have to be like, look, men just think a little bit more logically than females, which is why when you talk about expectations, women will tell you things like, well, like what's a good line? I want you always to be here for me before you guys are even together or some stuff like that. It's like those are things relating to like I want you to be mine. She won't say it specifically because they want you to be like I want you to be
I want you to sit in this house and you stay here and wait till I get off of work.
Exactly.
After that we go get some dinner. And then you come back and you sit in this room.
And then you sit
That's another thing that's specifically hard for us to deal with now.
And then you sit in this room.
I feel like people want like especially sexually, people want a lot of toxic things that they don't actually want in the relationship.
Ooh.
Like you don't want someone to be possessive to the point of like, oh, I own you. Mm-hmm. But the idea of it being said in the middle of passionate sex, like, whose is this? Might be a totally different feeling. You know what I'm saying? But again, it goes back to muddying those waters of what does a person really want. Because if you're trying to walk the line of both, like, oh, this is fantasy play while I do it, then like where's the line of like this is who I am?
That's a whole different conversation.
We can have that conversation.
But I like where you're going though.
That plays into a lot of
that is a lot of stuff.
Relationships that are make believe and role play.
That's kind of like last episode we were talking about like the porn industry. Like the reason why the porn industry is so huge is because it's played off of fantasy. And like a lot of that is because the people who do that, sometimes they can't get sexualized. A lot of people that can't, so they live in that fantasy. But when you're with a partner, the beauty of that is like you guys can play off of that. You know it's within the confines of you and them. So you can do all that, but like there's always like I will tell you, like you have to have those conversations.
50 Shades of Grey type situation because you trust that man.
You have those conversations. You have to be like, I'm into this. This is what I like. She's like, this is what I like. You have safe words. There's a lot of things you can do to set boundaries. Boundaries always have to be set. Transparency needs to happen. That's what makes it good. Outside of that, it's weird, and then you muddy the waters.
And it's crazy because, like, I've dated people in the past that have told me they had, and I would never name drop anybody to incriminate them, but I've dated people in the past that, like, have had a kink for, like, non-consensual situations. You know what I'm saying? Where's the line?
We're about to take it up a few notches.
Wait.
Huh?
Maybe a bit of both.
I think it's holding the dog food. That's the only thing I need a man for is to bring the dog food in the house.
You should start off.
Your expectations are too high.
Yeah, take out the trash.
I offered to take out the trash earlier. She's like, nah. That's how
because
I know
you don't work here.
You know, I don't care.
Yeah, it's not your responsibility.
That could also be scary though. Like when you go hold the door for a woman and she's like, nah.
No, you can get all the doors.
Yeah, she's like, no.
See, that's why for me I'm in between because I agree with a lot of the gender. Like I'm Middle Eastern. Yeah. My grandmother has tried to marry me off a handful of times, so we had to get it through her. Like it's not happening with this generation, Grandma.
She was trying to marry
you
off
told her
Prince Ali, Ali
Before
Aziz,
she was dead serious about that. But I like the idea of that because two people, whether it's transactional or not, they're joining with the same expectations that this is for life, that we're getting married because this is for the benefit of the both of us. And some women, even in those days, and now it's happening in the opposite way. Look at the craziness. They used to say, oh, you don't need to love him yet because you'll fall in love with time.
Right.
You marry this man because he's good for you and good for the family. You'll fall in love whether you're attracted or not.
I think there is a truth in that.
Yeah, I think it's something that needs to happen probably more. Not like exact like that, but like women need to be more pragmatic in how they're trying to build a family. Like you really need to be looking for people that are not just good looking and obviously tall and all this stuff. I mean, that's important. He needs to be able to take care of you. He needs to be able to preserve you. But like a lot of it is like, is he actually like a good mate and a good father for your children? Will he die for you? If a man, okay, I'll be honest. If a man is willing to die for you, ladies, I'm looking at it. I don't, whichever it is. These two, whatever. Look at me. If a man is willing to die for you and he's providing security for you and your family, you should stick by him no matter what. Almost no matter what. Almost no matter what. There's always extreme. There's always extremes. If he's a high value man, you're gonna have to share him some way. But I'm talking about for most people outside of the high value, like lower than high value people, you should stick with it because I'm telling you, they're few and far between the men that will do that. That are not high value, that don't make $100,000 a year. If he's doing all that, stick by him.
If you ain't high value, that's what you better be doing.
No, but like women won't. But the thing of the matter is, women don't. They're looking. They're still passing up on these men. Like they're just.
That is true.
They're like you can just pick them up off the street and keep going.
That's fucked up. Huh?
Y'all want to hear something crazy? This is kind of a sidebar, but I feel like y'all will find this super interesting. Okay, so there's like this rise in this idea that like. In America specifically, men have this idea that they're supposed to provide for their families so much that it provides a ton of pressure. And that's why in America specifically, we have all these cases of husbands murdering their entire fucking families. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all remember, what was it, The Murder Next Door?
You give Jonte headaches.
It was like Murder Next Door on Netflix. It was in North Carolina.
Wasn't that one of the white families? The guy killed his whole family.
White family.
And himself,
killed his whole family instead of just divorcing his wife. Dating a new woman because we have this, and it's again, it ties back into what you were saying about men feeling like we have to. Western culture, cis-hetero culture, feeling like we have to provide or we are inherently worthless.
Yes.
And if you can't do that, you offer nothing and everyone around you will perceive you as a bad person. If you have something, if you have something as simple as desires that don't align with what people like picture him as, because at the end of the day, all this guy wanted was to leave his wife and be with a new woman.
Right.
Does that make him a bad person? I don't
really.
know. I think
at the end
that
of the day,
sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But we live in a culture where like it's so normal for men to feel like I'm going to be villainized so goddamn much if I leave this woman and my children because nothing is technically wrong.
That's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? And the same happens on both sides. Happens for men and women, but just this idea that men feel like they aren't allowed to be bad.
I'm gonna turn it to what do you think, Shiraz? I'm for it.
Obviously, men are still bad.
I don't understand why you men cheat when you could just fucking leave. I don't. The whole idea of this, I don't get.
When we talk about cheating,
he was already cheating.
No, not today.
You sure?
Yeah. Today's been a good day. I don't want to get upset.
let me ask you this. I'm not gonna talk about cheating, but I'm gonna just ask you a question, and then we can just. If a guy, let's just say, whatever your perfect man is, and he's everything you want, he's taking care of you, providing security, provision, is the father to your children.
Yeah.
And he's told you up front, look, I'm going to do all this for you guys, no matter what. From time to time, I might and go, do what I have to do with other women. But you're the only one I'm taking care of. You're the only one providing these resources
I'm the bottom bitch? No.
No, you're the number one. But
is she allowed the same freedom?
Look,
is she allowed? Okay,
we can have this discussion.
Sure.
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you why that won't work. For a man that's that high of a status, he's not going to deal with that.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
What if they are?
He doesn't have to.
But what if this JayZ Beyoncé type situation where they both feel like they provide equal value?
What if it's Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith situation?
You see Will Smith?
Rest in
Did we all
peace,
see
Will
Will
Smith,
Smith's
bro.
face? He looked like he saw a ghost when she was saying that. You know why? Because men find it repulsive when you cheat because it takes more from a woman to cheat than a man. That's why I was saying earlier. It's not even close.
Cheating is one thing. That whole Will Jada shit, I ain't
But
even
like that's cheating.
Man.
What I'm saying is, you saw it on the man's face.
You saw it on his face. The whole relationship. It's not even cheating.
Points made.
But like Will Smith became a meme because how hurt he looked. That's the difference. Look at him. Like
he opened himself up for that.
No. No. You know why? Because there was there was nothing said
when he knew the type of woman he was marrying.
Said in the beginning. That's how I know. Because real ones, the ones that are good to you, will tell you, "This is what's happening. I'm doing this for you. If I go and do this, this is what it is. If not, if you don't want this, then you can leave." The ones that don't do it are the ones that are dogs.
Let me tell you, I see high value men often who have women at home taking care of their kids. And even will invite other women to the home in the presence of the wife.
Why shouldn't they be able to?
And there will be flirting, there will be this, there will be that. It is all okay.
Why not?
The wife is just fine.
You know why?
I swear to God, I've seen this with my own eyes. I wish I could possess that. Because it's a different level of security in yourself that it takes to allow your men to even tote the line, to play around a little bit. I couldn't do it. I know for a fact it comes with it because I've seen it more than once.
Right.
You could never be Will. That's what I was going to say. You could never be Will Smith then. Because to be honest, when I see Will Smith, like the reason, like I see his pain and I'll be like, oh, that shit sucks. It's because I feel like I can relate to having done something like that before, because what I see when I look at like Will is I feel like he's doing it out of obligation. He feels like he's supposed to be a good man and that we're all supposed to be able to look up to him. So any bullshit that can be put up with, he feels like he's supposed to rise above it.
Just goes
you know
back
what I'm
to
saying?
JayZ and
Which
Beyoncé
can be too much to deal with for any person at a certain point, you know. And I feel like you see him and you just see this emotionally exhausted individual.
It looks like
and it's like, bro, it's okay to be mad.
It looks like this has been happening, which goes back to my point. These are extreme examples because these are people of such high status that are together. This is not a norm.
You
usually don't see that happen.
They're the worst examples.
I'm not talking to them.
What'd you say?
I said they're the worst examples.
The best examples.
They're the
worst.
most
extreme.
No, they're the worst. Not the
just
best.
most
Don't do that.
entertaining.
If you say best, that's toxic. Don't do that. That's bad. That's horrible to say it's the best example. Like, that is the worst. That's not going to happen.
So it's a woman's obligation to just suck it up and let you spread dick everywhere because you got money?
Okay, so it's a man's obligation to have to compete with Tupac?
So I have to compete with the world.
Let me compete with Tupac to be able to be attractive enough to be with you?
So I got to compete with the world. I got to compete with people that are dead, and I have to provide to you. And also, no, seriously. Let's be honest here. Like, men have to provide so much value to bring home to the woman. The only thing we ask women to do is to be okay with what the hell is to provide exclusive sexual access. And then if I'm upfront about it, let me be very clear. If a man is not being upfront to you about what he's doing sexually and he's a high value man,
he's still a dog.
Dog. Men are dogs. But I'm saying the men that are upfront about it, why shouldn't they have the leverage to do so?
Look, that can be a conversation.
That's the conversation we're having.
Because this is what I'm trying to talk about. Leverage at that point, it's consent.
It is consent, but it's leverage because they can ask because they have the ability to do so. Because I built myself up to the point.
You can ask you blue in the face.
What?
You can ask all fucking day long.
I mean, but I'm not. But like I said, this is not. Once again, I'm not talking to you.
You don't think that the woman that this high value man is choosing to be with is high value herself, or he sees potential herself?
No, not always. You know why? Because men don't view. Because men don't look for the same things. Like I said, that the women do. Especially men at that point, they don't care a woman's ability to provide.
I will say, Jada is a perfect example. That's not true. Because whoever the fuck Jada was fucking with, I never heard of that nigga before.
Exceptions.
I never heard of that nigga before.
I'm just saying exceptions.
Because who is he?
Like I said, exceptions.
He's an R&B singer.
Exceptions don't make the rule in this an argument. Like it's dangerous to do so.
That's how you know women don't care.
Yeah, they
You got a Will Smith, but if this guy is treating you better, he's being kinder to you.
But like high value men do not. High value men
never
do
said
not.
that.
You can play around if you want to, but that guy's not going to stick around.
But if we're saying women cheat for
around
emotional reasons, it takes more for us to step out of a marriage. Then what do you think that guy is providing that That high value man at home
There's
is
no
not.
way. Let me put it this way. There's no way that
No.
August.
No,
Situation,
really, stop. No, really.
There's no way that August is a nicer guy than the guy that he asked permission to fuck his
Here's another
wife,
point. We
and
don't
he
know
said
what was
yes.
going on in that
Did you
relationship
just hear what he
still.
said? Will
Yes, I
Smith
heard.
said, yes, you can fuck my wife.
And then what I'm saying
like,
is
that's
there,
different.
and that's what I'm no. What I'm saying is there's no way that August is nicer than Will in that situation.
Will Smith, like, come on.
Will Smith is obviously the nicer guy in that situation.
Yeah, so that,
if
like
we're
I'm saying, this is a bad
measuring.
example. Stop going back to celebrities. I hate that shit. It makes no sense. Like,
Because if
And
that's the
maybe
case,
even
I'm
worse if you're a
terrible guy.
regular
No,
fucking
no, it makes more
joke.
sense if you're a regular person because this is reality, dog. You can't operate in people who are in the 1% of the 1%. It makes no sense.
You see how fast
People
we
who-
got back to cuckolds?
I know. Yes. But you brought it back. You brought it back to that. You did bring it back to that, though. I don't know why you keep bringing it back to cuckolds. Like, it's a bad example. Like,
No,
why?
it is a great example.
No, it's not, because people might be turned
Now we're
on by
on
that, but they
famous
might be
cuckolds.
ashamed of it at the same time.
I'm dead.
I mean,
no,
really,
that,
he might be like it, but he might act like he doesn't like it, which is why I don't really know how good of an example
We
it is.
don't know anything.
That's why, like, I hate the examples like this with
Yo,
Beyonce,
both
JayZ, and all
feeling
them. It doesn't matter.
either way could be a
It doesn't matter. Like, who cares? We don't know anything. We're perceiving about like a relationship with people that are higher enough in the world than
I
everybody
just think you guys are not giving women enough credit
else. For what?
for the way they set the atmosphere, the tone of your life.
How?
This broad is in your house, bro.
How?
She could make your life a living hell if she wanted to.
Why? I would never keep her around if I'm a high value man. Why
Then
would I do
half
that?
of your shit is mine at that point.
No. If you're talking about being married, you keep talking about it as if we're already together. I'm talking about trying to get. We're talking about courting a woman as a high value man. If I'm trying to court you and get you to be my wife, I'm not dealing with all these because I'm already gonna notice this. I'm not courting you. I'm not making you my wife if you're doing that. If you're talking like that, you're out of here. I don't need to deal with you. I'm in the upper echelon. You're looking for me as a high value man. You keep looking around, but like
This whole episode.
I'm being
episode
completely honest
is-
here. Like you act like you don't have the leverage. I hate to tell you this. Women do not have the leverage for
don't
dealing with
believe
these type of men.
that. I don't believe that.
It
This
doesn't
whole
matter what you don't
episode
believe.
is John
It's
Tay's
the-
worst nightmare.
Look, man. It's the
John Tay.
John Tay, the whole
Facts.
episode has been
I'm
looking at
talking
his
facts,
phone.
dog.
Facts.
Your
damn.
feelings and your emotions do not conform to reality.
So
dog.
a woman doesn't add value to your life
No, they
in any capacity.
They can. You know, how do you? Okay, I'll be honest. I know how a woman can act value. How do you think a woman should add value to a man's life after they have sex?
You
Wait,
expand
I'm
his
not
lens.
even sure what you're asking. Wait, say that again.
Okay, so say I'm making $500,000 a year, right?
Okay.
I'm dating a woman, whoever it is, whatever. Use her. Like it doesn't matter. We're together. We get together first night. We have sex. We keep having sex. It's cool.
How do I add value after
How
that?
do you?
With my fucking brain, bro.
How?
I'm gonna
That's
say
the difference.
No. I'm gonna be.
What do you mean how?
I'm gonna say
I'ma bring you-
generally, if I'm being entirely honest, as much as I can play both sides, devil's advocate and trying to be woke, what she offers is emotional literacy.
Thank you.
How?
That's not the
Generally,
least though.
That's really nothing. But
just generally, like emotional literacy, I can genuinely say, like, even a man who's making a good amount of money in comparison to like the regular woman he's going to be dating. Like you said, men and women communicate differently.
Right.
I can genuinely see just generally a woman being able
To anticipate your
bring
needs.
to bring something like a mature vulnerability, like a mature
Okay.
sense of vulnerability to a
Okay.
man's life.
And I appreciate that, but like that's not gonna keep you
Well,
around.
I mean, I feel like that's why you get a therapist, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
then
that's
you wouldn't,
not-
you wouldn't
I mean,
need
that's
it.
And
not-
that's why men.
that's not
women
your
are,
job, like-
and that's
You
why women
guys
are,
are
that doesn't
nuts.
that's why women be
No, I'm
mad.
not being
He's
nuts. Like I
like,
asked you what you would do, and you keep telling me abstract things. Concretely,
It's not abstract. These things fucking matter.
of course they matter, but like, what else? I'm being serious. Like when you're talking about these level of men, I'm not talking about average men. Let me be completely clear. I'm not talking about people who make $30,000 a year. I have no problem with that. I'm talking about men.
But
that-
Habibi, you don't think richer men crave
I feel like they'd be
something
more crazy.
Exactly.
No, dog. Rich. Okay, all right. I'm gonna just
Rich
do it.
niggas?
Rich niggas have to go out in the world and make their value. They
They'd
have
be
to fight for it
sick.
every day, and they've been fighting for it since they were 18.
Okay,
By
that
the
is
time
true.
they're 32, they do not want any drama, no shit. They want peace. They want tranquility. They want a woman that's going to submit to them
Yeah.
and be their almost assistant to their life
Fuck
in the
them
most
niggas.
respectful way possible. Because they know I want this this woman to have my children because I know that she's good enough to do it, and because she invests more value in my life than giving up her vagina.
Because she
I can
listens to me
no,
and
listen.
she accepts that I'm gonna go have sex with whoever because I got
I'm not
money.
talking about that. I'm talking about strictly what keep a woman around. I'm talking. If a man's
Okay.
gonna go have
Okay.
sex around, I'm telling he should tell you. You're you're conflating two different things. Way different. I'm talking about as a man that you're trying to keep around. If he's high value, are you able to keep him around by providing value to show that this is the woman that I want to have a child with, who would be a good mother to my children, who is going to respect me in our relationship publicly and privately, who is going to be the woman that I want her to be. If she wants a traditional man, is she a traditional woman?
You don't even check these boxes that you are requiring.
No. I'm talking about we're talking about what is like
a man is
on the lowest
of
keys. Guess who's
we were talking about up the highest. We're not talking about what I am.
Who I think is the best example of like woman in the scenario that you're presenting? Tekashi 6ix9ine's baby mama.
What is going on?
That sounds ridiculous. No. Anything you've ever seen of her publicly, she does not speak bad on his name, bro.
No. That's not the really. Bare minimum,
like, ultimately, like like the idea of what you're talking about, like, is she gonna be a good mother? You know what I'm saying? Is she gonna speak bad on my name?
Yeah, I mean,
is she gonna wild out?
Yes.
Like you think
the principles are there though,
and you think
she's
of
making
like
a scene about it. It's true,
like you talk about high status men.
Yep.
He is the most extreme example that you could probably think of. And still, you watch any interview of her, documentary, and she does as much as she can. Like to respect him.
But let me say this: you keep trying to equate this back to like normal average standards. I am talking about above this. This is not. Most of this is not going to apply to a lot of people. Majority of people. We were talking about elite status people, high status people. At that point, they're looking for specific things because they have already built themselves up to enough to the point where they don't need to deal with bullshit.
They feel like they got the fast pass,
and they do. And But if they're doing certain things, they need to tell you. But I'm talking about just as a basic standard, they're looking for these things. You need to be able to provide value to life outside of sex. And a lot of women don't know how to do that.
Do you think that it entitles them to it? All this success and stuff. Do you think that it entitles them to this idea of a fast pass?
So let me put it to you this way: if there's a candy store, I took this off another podcast I was watching, but I think it's a good example. If there's a candy store and you're able to go in it when you're 18, and you start. Imagine, only girls can get access to this when they're 18. You go in, you start eating all the candies you want. Snickers, whatever. Skittles. And then you figure out all the stuff that you like that you don't like. I hate the yellow Laffy Taffies.
Racist.
That's the best. Bananas bomb.
Just think of all the candies you hate, right? Okay. But equate them to men. Like, you figured out all the stuff you want, right? You've been doing it for 10 years, right? You're 28.
All I got left is
so
what
now,
I do like.
Men only can get into this candy store where they're 30 plus, have $100,000 a year, have $30,000 in the bank.
Wow.
No, really, just sexual access. Like, they only get this when they get to a certain point. So now when they get in, what do you think men are going to do? They've been waiting their whole life.
Gonna fuck them all.
And you know what's funny? It goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Will I get fired if I walk out of this podcast right now? Like, this is what I'm saying, though.
Look, though.
But you just asked. You just made my point. No, but you just made my point, though. You just made. This is my point, though. But what I'm saying is, like, that is part of it. Like, men, to a certain extent, yes, they do and feel entitled to do what they do, but they also should be upfront about what they're doing. You asked me, should they?
It's crazy. You're not telling me that. I keep trying to bring things back to an emotional type thing.
But like emotion, emotion does not live in reality and logical world. You guys, and I love women for this because
emotions inform reality.
They don't.
The other way
they
around.
Inform, but they are not. They do not sit concretely in reality constructs. They don't. And that's why I've been trying to say this whole time. It's not like they're not valid. They just don't fit. It's like putting a square peg into a circle hole. Sometimes it just doesn't fit. You might be able to put it in there a little bit, try to force it in there, and sometimes it might. But I'm being honest.
And again, like you said, sometimes it
does.
Sometimes it really might.
Sometimes it really might.
So don't be discouraged
but most of the time,
by anything we say. There's always an exception.
There's always an exception. But like majority of the time, you try to put a square peg into a circle hole, you're going to have a problem. And it's not because you guys aren't right and you're not valid. It just doesn't work. What I'm saying is men are like, not men, but like I'm understanding how the game works. I'm not complaining. I know how it works. I know what I got to do to make myself valuable as a man. But like, I feel like a lot of women have a skewed perception. Some understand. Like, I think you live more in this reality than others based on what you've been saying.
It doesn't make
I wouldn't
any of
expect
it
you to,
okay. I don't accept any of it. I get it, but I don't
be
accept
honest.
it.
I don't think a lot of it's right.
I don't think a lot of it's
right. I just think a lot of it is the way it is. It has nothing to do whether a lot of this has nothing to do with whether it's right or wrong. It's how it is.
Exactly. And I think not accepting it is more likely to make you run into a better dude. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. No. You don't have to. I don't accept any of this. And that's why I feel like most of this stuff doesn't apply to what happens to me because I don't want to be with the kind of person that thinks these ways that we're addressing.
Facts.
You know?
But like, you can't be upset at the world. But you also can't be upset at the world when stuff happens. You're like, why? Well, you have to step out of
exactly.
What you're looking. You have to look at it from a logical perspective of what's happening now in this day and age. This doesn't apply to people 30, 40 years ago, our parents, our grandparents. We're not talking. We're talking about in this day and age, in this social media, internet area with social access for women. This is what's happening, and that's fine. But like, you have to understand.
I don't know if it's fine, but
you
happening.
have to understand the pros and cons and the responsibilities that come with it, and the accountability.
I had one more thing.
Yeah,
maybe actually two more things I wanted to say. I feel like women.
I
feel like something we don't say often is that women generally decide without even knowing what is and isn't attractive in our culture. I would also like to say women did not ask for that responsibility. And on top of that, it's just...
I mean, if you want to do that, men didn't ask responsibility to be the breadwinners either. They just were given that.
It's true.
It's a lot of it goes both ways. We just gotta, like, I agree. I feel like I really feel like women are put in a very precarious situation because a lot of them are having to adapt on the fly with culture. Just like I said, 10 years ago, we used to wear 3X shirts, baggy-ass pants,
jeans, and
it was cool.
Everybody has to adapt. Men have to adapt too.
Yeah. No, I'm saying everybody does.
Everybody just has to adapt to the way things are, or completely rebel against the status quo and doing your own thing. So
what you get is a lot of different types of views. You get a lot of women saying, "I only want this." Well, okay, if you only want this, it's this many men, and you're.
Yeah, that's the problem.
This is my issue. It's not the fact that women want better. Fine. Do what you got to do, but know what comes with the consequences when you wait or don't do the right actions to get that type of man. Because you're competing with everybody else.
Don't be threatening us.
I just urge.
Don't be threatening us.
I'm not threatening. This is
ladies do not settle.
Okay.
I just urge.
But see, the type of shit that makes you settle is why a lot of women are single past their 30s, or like it's a lot of it's like not like a lot of women need to look in the mirror and feel like, what are they actually doing to get this value that they're seeking? Both ways. Men that are bums cannot detect any relationship term.
Yeah.
Let me be honest.
I do get around women that are the complete, like, I don't realize how different I am until I'm around other women. And then I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's all. And I feel like there's a middle ground, but we gotta just be logical about what's happening. Not so emotional. I get it. It's easy.
I just urge women to remember there's always gonna be niggas out there that are gonna agree with you for the sake of some coochie.
Yes. And this is why I'm saying this, because I'm not trying to have sex with anybody watching this, because men will tell you anything to get box, and that's it.
And you just gotta remember that no matter how woke you think he might be.
Or how great I might be at gauging, like, good character.
To be real, the wokest people are usually the most predatorial, right? Because they kind of adapt this whole like thing of like getting in people's psychology and being able to manipulate them, and that's like that's part of the game, right?
It's
like
part of it, though.
I know exactly how you think, so I know exactly what you want to hear, and I know exactly how to give out
There's more manipulation at hand than most people think.
There's a difference between manipulation and respect to women. People should be able to take this information and be able to respect women and know how they're going to act and be able to live and cohabitate with them instead of trying to dehumanize or like trying to go against them. I'm just saying this because a lot of people don't understand they don't understand the language and how women not even talk about how they communicate, what they're looking for, and what's actually happening. A lot of them just go off of shit you were saying earlier. They think, oh, this one girl liked this, so I'm going to keep doing this. It's like, nah, dog.
Never forget
like that.
Never forget that men as kids are taught to trick women into saying yes. Never forget that shit. That's what we're taught in America. Like, if you really think about it, we are taught to trick women into saying yes.
How?
Time out.
A million ways. What are you talking about?
Are you sure?
You said trick women into saying yes?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's been a fucking episode,
there's so
guys.
many comedians that talk about this.
Lord.
It's like, who was it? I think it was like Bill Burr. Not Bill Burr. I don't even
I
want to
listen
say
to Bill Burr. He's funny. Wait, what do you say?
Just the idea that, like, if there's one woman working in an office with three single dudes, all three of those dudes are gonna be like, what do I have to do to get her to be like me? Be the one that she's attracted to? Like, you will go to the most disgusting lengths.
You're talking about men spreading their seed, pretty much.
I mean, yeah, in the grand scope of things.
No,
but like,
I see what you're saying.
Niggas will sacrifice everything about their own sense of self.
Your presentation is much more like crafted and much more like
they have to.
You will mold your presentation of yourself to get someone to like you.
Yeah.
And it's like, That shit is phony.
It's
nigga.
the whole bait
You
and
niggas
real
fake.
thing, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like
that is.
it's
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
a trick, really, because you think it's food, right? But it's like, oh, I got you now.
And then a year down the
Hooked.
line, you're like, oh, why didn't I know he was like this before? Because he was showing you what you wanted to see.
Exactly.
See, it
That's
don't
why.
even be our fault. You see how
No,
sick it is?
Nah,
No,
you got
But that's why I
Take
say
some
you-
accountability.
That's why.
No, accountability. No, it is.
Exactly.
No,
It's
it
on
is.
you
I'm not
to
not
know.
doing that. Because women have to be accountable. Because women give access to sex. Men give access to relationships and marriage. Period.
It's on
Facts.
you
That's
to
how it
know that
goes.
that's how the game works.
Yeah.
The
Women
same
know
way
the
it is
game.
for
They
me.
just don't like when the game goes against them. That's the real issue.
Yo,
But
This has been a great
Some
episode.
shit. I had fun, even though I don't
Yeah, I
understand.
appreciate
a
your-
lot of this was
I
over my head. I had
appreciate your
fun.
perspective. We needed that.
We're going to have to do
Yeah.
a part 2 at some point because this was great.
Just get another girl in there. She can
Yes,
do it too.
I'm gonna get a
That would be great.
specific type of woman
I'm
up here.
down. She can get these stats. too.
She'll. Oh
She's
my
going to look for somebody that
God.
can talk over us.
She gonna give me. I feel like I'm gonna be here for it. I love it. Honestly.
I think this is a great episode.
Yeah.
Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. Please.
Oh.
Do.
Also, we're gonna be dropping the.
Oh, well, they're hearing this, so today is Thursday. Now, yeah, we're dropping on Thursdays, and
Today is Sunday.
damn, if you got to the end, I'm sorry to tell you, but the video's also on YouTube. You could have been peeped that. But yeah, we drop every Thursdays now. Jordan was with me, Rhythm was with me,
Yep.
JayZ here. Hear me out. We fucking out.